Hey guys, this is Cyborgwing here, coming at you with a new deck profile for YGO builds. And today what I have come to bring you is one of my personal favorite decks, the Ultimaya Hieratic deck. Now, this was originally a post-Bosch build I made with a friend of mine. Shout out to my boy Greco over there. And I'm going to show it to you today because he's the one who helped me make this really, really good. This is the third version of this, and there's in fact a high monster count version that I will probably be bringing to you later. But without any further ado, let's begin. So to start off, you've got your basic hieratic engine. You got your triple Sue, your triple Tefnuit, your triple Aset. Nothing too difficult, nothing weird. And now you have your Labradorite, who is your tuner, level 6, Dark, Dragon, and you use him with the Hieratics, tribute them, summon them out, and go into my bad boy Ultimaya here. Now, he can't be summoned unless you have two monsters with the same level, and one of them is tuner, non-tuner, so you can use a set to match the effect as well. If your first turn and you want to go into Ultimaya, you can normal summon a set, tribute, special summon Sue, Labradorite, and you're good. Now, there are going to be some times when you either want to go into a first turn double Ultimaya, or you want to have keep a Sue on the field, or you draw into a Tefnuit and nothing else. There are going to be times when you draw into Wattail Dragon, and you can use Wattail Dragon as an extra normal summon on Tefnuit to go into the Labradorite, Ultimaya, bam boom, bibbidi bop. Nothing weird about it. Now next, you have your Terraforming to go with your 3 chicken games. Now, originally I ran Upstart Goblins, but I like Chicken Game a lot more because I run 1 Solemn Warning and 3 Solemn Notice. So, and there's going to be a lot of times when you don't initially start with a lot of monsters, or you don't start with monsters at all, and it's going to take you a few turns. So it's a good idea to kind of build that protection against damage, kind of stall out until you can get some good stuff. And next you have your 3 Magic Planners. I run only about 7 continuous traps in this deck, and the main reason I use Magic Planner is because it works incredibly in combination with Hieratic Seal from the Ashes. Now, you've already got your Convocation to search them out, and originally I ran Call the Haunted, but I don't like that so much anymore, because Hieratic Seal from the Ashes, when it's activated, on your opponent's turn, you can send a Hieratic monster from your deck to the graveyard. Pretty simple, right? And you can, during your turn, take a banished hieratic monster from your graveyard and put from your that's banished, and you can then put it in your graveyard. Simple, right? Happens when it's sent to the graveyard, if it's face up, you can target a hieratic monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Magic Planner, if you send Hieratic from the Ashes to the graveyard, due to the problem-solving word text in it, you draw the 2 cards, and then Seal from the Ashes goes off, you can special summon. Usually you're going to be using this to send Sues, because then you can pop back row off. That's just me, though. Next, because this is a pure dragon deck, I run nothing but dragons in this. You've got 3, yes 3, Rivalry of Warlords. This is a great card. It's kind of old, but isn't that how it is? A lot of the older cards tend to be ones that get better over time because they're simple yet amazing effects. And each player can only control 1 type of monster. Not a problem for you, right? You only have 1 type of monster, dragon. But this really hurts very spammy decks, especially pendulums. Because if after the pendulum summon you don't have a notice or something, you play warlords, they got to pick, and that'll at least get rid of maybe 1 or 2, sometimes a lot more. It's pretty crazy stuff. Then of course I mentioned the triple notice. And now you've got the huge revolution is over. Now, this deck was made, as I probably said before, for the post-Bosch format, and this card isn't as great, but Raigekis can still really hurt you because Ultimaya, even though when you have a Synchro monster on the field, it cannot be targeted by battle or card effects, that doesn't stop it from AoEs like Raigeki and the like, High Hierarch and Garunix. Not to mention, you can use the Huge Revolution to stop things like Wavering Eyes and Pendulum Sorcerer and banish them. Like, nah, nigga, that shit ain't happening. So then, of course, you got extra effect hate, breakthrough skill. You got your vanities, your solemn, your bottomless. Now, I left this kind of for later because Dust Tornado. Dust Tornado, I run 3 of it because it hurts back row. But in Ultimaya, this deck, it's tricky to use. Because of the card text of things like Scrap Iron Scarecrow, you can use cards like Scrapyre and Scarecrow, as you may know, to activate Ultimaya's effect on your opponent's turn. You can do this as well with Dust Tornado, but with Dust Tornado there's a catch. If you chain Dust Tornado to anything, it doesn't work. You can only use Dust Tornado at the starts and ends of phases, which makes this deck better on DN because you can't. YGOPro doesn't give you the option to do these things. But yeah, starts and ends of phases, if they've got back row or they got pendulums on the field, you smack down Dust Tornado, you have a spell or trap card in your hand, you set it down, and you've got an Ultimate on your opponent's turn. Usually you're going to be summoning something like Black Rose Moonlit Dragon to, bounce back their special summoned monsters. No big deal. So of course, now I'm going to go into the extra deck real quick. You got 2 Ultimaya. Now, you don't really need 3. 3 is very excessive and can take away from extra deck space that you'll need. I mean, you can bring out 2, but you're never going to summon more than 2. It's very rare that you will lose both of them. Of course, after that, it's game over, but don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Next, you've got double Ignister. Once again, this deck was made to fuck pendulums in the ass. Ignister, double, it's great. I love it. Especially against magicians and stuff. They will never see it coming. Double Moonlit Rose, usually used in conjunction with Dust Tornado. You can also summon it on your own turn if you just want to get something going. Single Beals, great card. 3000 Beat Stick, can't be destroyed. If you take damage, it gains the damage's attack. That's pretty good. In conjunction with Strap Dragon, it's a pretty great card. Just target Beals or something or whatever you have on your field, usually Chicken Game, because there are going to be times when your opponent has less life points than you. When you have Chicken Game on the field, that's going to be a problem. You can just pop that Chicken Game, pop a card on your opponent's field, boom. Crystal Wing. When using this deck, you always summon Crystal Wing first with Ultimaya. No questions asked. Almost always, but there's very rarely going to be a moment when Crystal Wing is not the best option to summon first. Especially first turn Crystal Wing, usually going to summon Crystal Wing, you're going to have a Solemn Notice and or another breakthrough skill on hand anyway. So, boom, boom, boom. Effect hate for days. Start a Spark Dragon, great way to protect your monsters. And one quick combo I should point out. Just one. And that is the fact that if you have Vanities or Hieratic Seal from the Ashes on the field, you can use Start a Spark Dragon. You can use Start a Spark Dragon to stop Vanities from being destroyed and basically create a sort of lock. Ancient Fury Dragon, there's a lot of decks that run field spells nowadays, like Monarchs and such, Cosmos. I know Cyframes do, but I haven't seen those a lot lately. You can use Ancient Fairy Dragon to pop those, as well as get a second Chicken Game on your turn, if you just want to get some draws going. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. I don't main Raigeki in this deck, as you can see I have it inside, but Hot Red's a great card. You're always going to be summoning Ultimate in defense anyway, so it poses no risk to you in that aspect. And it's just a great way to just kind of clear the board. Michael, you're going to be using him, of course, for your banishes. You can just use him for single targets. You can keep him. He's not necessarily like a late game thing or a finisher. You can keep him around on the field for a while. Since you have a lot of cards, but you have 3 copies of them, so the mill thing doesn't impact you as badly as it would if you just toss this in something else randomly. Light End, you're going to be using him for just if your opponent has a big monster that you can't quite overcome with like regular 3K attack power, you're probably going to go into Light End, those Dank Destroyers and whatnot, because Light End doesn't target. And of course you're going to have your Dark End if they can't necessarily be destroyed, but you don't really want it to be returned to hand. So you can just go into Dark End and just send it to the graveyard, no big deal. Now, let's go into the side. You've got one Raigeki, you've got the 2 MST, and you've got the 2 Twin Twister, just for extra back row hate, because back row hates on this deck really, really hard. You've got another The Huge Revolution is over if they've just got tons of AoE field wipes. So, Anti-Spell Fragrance, once again, this deck is anti-Pendulum to the max. I'm sorry, what was that? What was that, opponent? You want to Pendulum Summon? No. Imperial Iron Wall, just have it. Another way to break down on Cosmos. What's that? You want to summon Cosmos? No thanks, Imperial Iron Wall. Sorry. Now, I'm going to get into this. This is kind of weird because for the probably 4th time this video I've mentioned, Chimera Tech is for getting over Infinity. And this deck was made during post-Bosch format. So that was when Ptolemaeus was still a thing. Cyber Infinity was a big issue, and you could use it in Pendulum decks. So now Chimera Tech isn't as big of a deal, but if you run into Cyber Dragon Infinity, or if you run into Cosmos, just more hate, although you're probably not going to do that because Rivalry Warlord hates on Cosmos anyway. So if you want to switch these out for other things, feel free to do so. And that's, you've got your Cyber Dragon, you've got your Cyber Dragon cores, just to quickly search into them and get your Chimera Techs out there. Of course, this means you got a Rivalry of Warlords, but, whatever. No big deal. No big deal. But yeah, once again, just 3 Sioux, 3 Tefnuit, 3 Aset, Labradorite, Wattail, Terraforming, 3 Chicken Game, 3 Magic Planner, 3 Hieratic Seal of Convocation, Coast gotta search some Hieratics, Dust Rhino, 3 Hieratic Seer from the Ashes, 3 Rivalry of Warlords, 3 Solemn Notice, 2 The Huge Revolution is Over, 2 Breakthrough Skill, 1 Bandies, 1 Solemn, 1 Bottomless, 2 Ultimaya, 2 Ignister, 2 Moonlit Rose, Beals, Scrap Dragon, Crystal Wing, Stardust Spark, Ancient Fairy, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, Michael, Light End, and Dark End. You got your Raigeki, your Mystical Space Typhoons, Twin Twister, Extra Huge Revolution, 2 Anti-Spell, 2 Imperial Iron Wall, 2 Chimera Tech, 1 Cyber Dragon, and 2 Cyber Dragon cores. And that is pretty much the whole deck. I should probably mention that explaining how to play this deck is kind of difficult. I mean, you just got to play the Hieratics. It's something you have to try for yourself, but once you get this deck down, I highly recommend it. A lot of the other guys in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Build team, when I bust this deck out, they just kind of groan, and they're like, Cyberwing, you playing that deck again? And I'm like, I love it, bruh. This is one of my favorite decks of all time. It's just such a huge meta breaker. It's hilarious. Except Monarchs. This rapes Monarchs. I mean, this gets raped anally by Monarchs. I should probably point that out. Just saying. Just saying. And anyways, that is all. And I will see you guys again next week.